Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are joining us from today, and welcome to Salesforce's Release Readiness Live, the admin preview, broadcasting today from my living room in San Francisco. My name is Rebecca Sarr. I'm on the admin relations team, a team dedicated to your success as an awesome admin, and we're doing that today by breaking down the Summer 20 release. I have an amazing lineup of product experts and evangelists here ready to dive in to the latest and greatest. Now, we've changed the format a little bit where we are going to go through the whole sessions and all of the demos, and then we'll save all that time at the end for Q&A. So definitely take note of your questions and post them in the community, and we'll get to them at the very end. So how do you post your questions? Well, use the hashtag Salesforce Live, either on Twitter or in the Trailblazer community. And that is how we will be monitoring. Awesome admin team member Rachel Mincarelli is online monitoring everything, and we will be getting to all of those questions at the end. Of course, if you have one of those more meaty questions, we do recommend the Trailblazer community since there's more space to write there, and we can make sure we get a good answer for you there. All right, so before we get started, I do have to remind you of our forward-looking statement to please remember to make purchasing decisions based on currently available features and functionality. So what are these features that we're talking about today? Our agenda for today is starting with Quip. So special guest Elizabeth Martin is going to give us the latest features there. Then we'll move into Optimizer. There's some really exciting new stuff there that Niket will be sharing. Then we're going to talk about mobile. Sheena Lee is going to share information about the latest updates there. And lastly, we will hear from Evangelist Mark Baseman about some awesome new admin and end user features that will drive productivity. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Elizabeth to talk us through Quip.
I'm Elizabeth, a technical product marketer on the Quip team, and I'm excited to be able to share with you some of the details of some of the Quip enhancements we have coming up in the summer release. Let's go ahead and dive in. Now, it's been a while since we've joined Release Readiness Live, so I wanted to start out with a quick review of some of the most impactful features we've come out with over the past few months, in case you've missed any of these. A lot of these are around the same theme, tighter integration with Salesforce. Quip now allows you to create a task or log a call from directly within a Quip doc, such as a meeting notes doc. You can select the text from your notes, and it will log that right back to Salesforce directly from Quip. We've introduced some new live apps, including the Salesforce List View Live app, which allows for inline editing and bidirectional sync. We've expanded the list of Quip actions that we offer from Process Builder and Flow, so that now, in addition to doing things like creating and sharing documents, you can also do things like lock document edits or remove access. We've enabled document template mode for many of our live apps that bring in Salesforce data to allow for more admin control over how data is brought in when you create a doc from a template. We've launched Quip Shield with tools like enterprise key management and governance for organizations who want tighter control over their data and security. And finally, we've enabled a simple interface to manage connections to multiple Salesforce orgs. This is a fantastic tool for admins who have a single Quip instance that they'd like to connect to multiple Salesforce orgs, to provide their users a 360-degree view of their customers via account plans and other documents. Now, we've released quite a bit over the past couple of months, and we don't have time to touch on all of it today, but I'd like to just touch on a few highlights. Following the same theme of more data and additional integration with Salesforce, we've released the Einstein Analytics Live app. This live app makes it possible to bring in an Einstein Analytics dashboard directly into Quip so that you can view and have conversations around that live data. Examples of where this might be used would be a weekly forecast meeting, a team doc, or a one-on-one coaching doc. In all of these examples, it's beneficial to have a single place to see progress, but to also have a space for conversation around that progress and that live data. The second feature that our customers have been really excited about is template usage reporting. A lot of our customers have been asking for more visibility into how Quip documents and templates are being used, and of course they'd like to be able to view that data from directly within Salesforce. You can now access metrics such as the number of documents created from a template and the amount of activity and conversation that's occurring in those documents. Going forward, we plan to add additional engagement metrics, such as reporting on engagement within specific document sections. As an example of how this would be helpful, you can imagine an account plan template that's been rolled out across an org. You might want to ensure that all of the sections are being filled out and report on usage and activity by section. I'm going to walk through the full lifecycle of a template in the demo. I'll first show how to add the Einstein Analytics Live app and set up a document in template mode. And then once that document is created from a template, I'll show how we can report on template usage. Let's dive in. I'm going to start out with the bones of an account plan template. This is the type of template you would typically embed in the account record in Salesforce. It's one of the most common use cases for Quip. This template will bring in the account record details via the merge field syntax in the Salesforce Live apps and serve as a place for account team members to work together as they execute on the strategy for a particular account throughout the year. As of the summer release, we can now add an Einstein Analytics dashboard to this template. Before doing so, you will need to have Einstein Analytics licenses set up for your Salesforce instance, and you'll need to enable the appropriate security settings from the Salesforce Setup menu. Once that's done, we can add the dashboard by simply typing @Einstein Analytics. We can easily set the appropriate height and width here for the dashboard we'd like to see. Using template mode, we set it up so that the dashboard is automatically filtered for the appropriate account. We do this via the same syntax that we would use for bringing in individual record fields as shown in the section above. We can do the same thing for related lists. After we have added the related list and selected template mode, we simply confirm that the appropriate Salesforce org is selected and enter the related list type. Let's see this in action. Here we are on an account record that has the underlying template we just configured. When I click to create a new document from this template, the associated document will populate accordingly. We can see the account detail fields coming in via the merge field syntax, and the account dashboard is now visible via the Einstein Analytics Live app. We can also see that the implementation status has been populated from the related list that we configured via the template. Once we've got this set up and rolled out, this is where template usage reporting comes in. Template usage reporting helps us better understand how templates are being used and how helpful and effective they are. To set up the template usage reporting, the first thing you'll want to do is create the report types for Quip metrics. To do this, go to Report Types in the Setup menu and click to create a new report type. There are 4 report types you'll want to enable, all starting with the word collaboration. Let's enable collaboration template metrics for now. Note that it may take up to 48 hours for the data to populate, and we won't be able to look back in time. We'll be able to see data for documents created from templates beginning after the report type has been enabled. Now let's jump into an org where data is already populated. Once the report type is created, it's easy to create a new report on usage over time like the example you see here. We can then bring the resulting chart into a dashboard to better understand the effectiveness of a particular initiative. That concludes our demo. If you'd like to learn more about Quip, I strongly recommend you check out the Productivity Detective Trail on Trailhead. And with that, I will turn it over to Niket.
Hello everyone, my name is Niket Trivedi and I'm really excited to be here today. I'm the product manager for Salesforce Optimizer. And today I'll be talking about all the great enhancements we are bringing to you in the Summer 20 release. With that, let's just dive right into it. But before we jump into the Summer 20 enhancements, I wanted to remind everyone what is Salesforce Optimizer. A lot of you are already familiar with Optimizer, but for those who aren't, Optimizer is an adoption tool that provides actionable insights about your org. It drives adoption by helping you discover features that can benefit your users. It helps improve performance and productivity by suggesting best practices for feature configurations. It saves you time with a ready list of maintenance tasks that can help you prioritize what to fix first. And you can reduce tech debt by fixing issues proactively and staying up to date. In summary, with more than 50 insights, Optimizer helps you drive greater adoption of Salesforce. So, what's new in Summer 20 release? Optimizer is currently a PDF report, and while it provides great insights, it has obvious limitations. Scrolling through hundreds of pages of a PDF document, going back and forth between your org and the report are some of the pain points as you work through those insights. I am super excited to announce that in this summer release, we are transforming Optimizer into an interactive app within your org. You get a dashboard with all your insights in one place. User interface is designed to simplify your navigation as you work through these insights. You can stay in your org as each insight clicks to relevant sections within your org and make it more efficient as you follow up on each recommendation. So, as you see, now you'll spend less time scrolling through a PDF document and more time taking action on those insights. With that, let's see the demo of what it looks like. I want to take an example of something that most of you awesome admins can relate to. Imagine you have just taken over an org. You have hardly had any time to ramp up on it, or anyone to guide you on what's inside this legacy org. On top of that, you have users who are complaining about slow account pages. There you are, wishing you had a magic wand to find out what's going on. As a fearless admin, you immediately go to the setup page and search for Optimizer. As you click on Optimizer, you notice the new Optimizer app. Once you have allowed access, you can open the Optimizer app within your org. As soon as you go to the app, you can run the app to get the latest results. You will get notified when the results are ready to be viewed. You have a full dashboard of insights about everything going on in your org, and they are sorted in the order of urgency. You can focus your attention on items that require immediate attention and click on, let's say, the second item on this list, which says Active Workflow Rule Limits. As soon as you click on it, you'll notice that the split view kicks in and how easy it is to view the details on the right-hand side with console navigation, while keeping the full list accessible on the left-hand side. Console navigation makes it more organized as you are working through these insights. As you dive deeper on the right-hand side, Results section tells you that there are too many workflow rules that can increase the time it takes to save and load records. And it happens to be the account object, which makes you feel you may have identified at least one reason why some pages are slow. You then click on the next feature with immediate action required, Lightning component on record pages. Results here show that one Lightning page has too many components, causing it to load slowly. So, now you know this is possibly another reason for slowness of those pages. This time, you're curious and want to dive further, so you click on View in Setup, and it takes you directly into that App Builder page. You can click Edit and see more details of what the page looks like and what type of component it has. As you come back to Optimizer, you also notice that the recommendation section shows what you could do differently to solve this problem. For example, moving some of the components to the other tabs so it doesn't slow the page. There are also relevant help resources specific to this topic for your ready reference if you want to learn more. Coming back to the rest of the insights. As you see, it took us less than 10 minutes from knowing nothing about the org to getting so many insights of what's going on and identifying the root cause of some of the user pain points. There are lots and lots of other examples and scenarios where these insights will come handy. For example, you want to clean up your reports and dashboard, but you don't know which ones are used or not. Well, Optimizer will tell you which ones aren't used in a while that can help you clean them up. Or Are their users complaining about suboptimal experience? Perhaps they are using non-supported browsers. Optimizer will give you those details and many more such examples. I hope Optimizer can help you provide the insights you're looking for to drive Salesforce adoption in your org. As you saw, Optimizer makes it so much easier to get the insights you're looking for. But this is just the beginning. We have a lot more cool features coming up in the near future. Let's go through some of them. Never forget to run an Optimizer scan with Schedule Scan feature, so you always have latest results. Tracking org health over time for some of the metrics so you can take proactive action. Very soon, you will be able to build custom reports using the Optimizer data. So, slice and dice it the way you want to. As we continue to find ways to simplify the experience, we will bring more charts, graphs, and visual display of data for faster insights. Imagine Optimizer insights coming to you via notifications, so you don't have to keep going to the app. We will add notifications for critical insights. Lastly, as we know, all the orgs are different, and the focus on optimization may also differ. We will give the ability to pick what matters to you the most and focus on optimizing only those areas. With that said, we are at the end of this section. We have a great Trailblazer community for Salesforce Optimizer, and I would encourage everyone to join that for providing more feedback, ideas, and sharing how you are optimizing your org. All right, that's it for me today. With that, I'm going to pass it on to Sheena to talk about her product.
Hello, admins. My name is Sheena Lee. I'm a Director of Product Management with the Salesforce Mobile app. And today I'm going to take you through our list of new features and pilots that are coming to the Salesforce Mobile app in Summer 20. So you may recall that last release, Spring 20, was the biggest release ever of the Salesforce Mobile app. We brought Lightning to mobile for the first time so that all your customizations show up on mobile. In Summer 20, we're building on that foundation to help your users become more productive. With this summer's release, your users can personalize the tabs that show up in their mobile navigation bar. They can go to the menu tab and reorder their nav items within any Lightning app, simply by hitting the edit button and then dragging and dropping the items around to reflect the order that they want. The first 4 items on the list show up as tabs. They're just one tap away, no matter where the user is in the app. This means all the things they use the most are now the easiest for them to access. I should mention that this ability to reorder navigation at the end user level is on by default, but of course, you as admins can disable personalization depending on whatever level of user freedom you're comfortable with. Last release, users were able to start sharing links to specific records. For summer, we've added the ability to share links to specific app pages and even lists. Next up, we added in Scope Search to Object Home. And what Scope Search does is it gives users the ability to search only within records of that specific object type. If you're on Opportunity Object Home, using Scope Search there will limit your results to just your relevant opportunities. Users will also be able to search their lists. If your users typically have dozens of lists, this could be a big help. Android users will finally see the View All Lists page on their devices. They can also view all lists from Object Home starting in Summer 20. Also filed under Search Improvements, in this release, we added support for lookup fields on mobile. Users can easily choose the right field value from a narrowed down list of valid options. So when you're relating an event to a specific contact record, you can easily browse available contact records and make the right call. So now let's talk about some iOS features. We added support for universal links on iOS, so you won't run into that prompt. When you tap on a link from an email notification, you're just going to go directly to the app. Finally, we've added an iOS feature called context menus. What this feature does is it allows users to long press on a specific search result or any record in a long list of options. And while you long press, you get a preview of the page. The preview has just the fields you need, so you can easily choose whether to complete the long press and pop over to that record or let go and pop back into your list. Don't worry, I'll demo this in a minute so you get the hang of it. All right, so let's see all this stuff in action. So for this demo, I'm a sales executive, Kayla Potter, and next week, I'm meeting with some key accounts, so I'd like to switch my landing page from being dashboards to being accounts. So where do I go to do this? So I'm going to land on my menu tab, and here you can see the Sales Executive app. This is where I have all of my Lightning app items. I want to make accounts my landing page instead of dashboards. And so what I do is I tap on the pencil icon with the edit link, and I land on edit navigation. Here, I'm going to drag accounts from the bottom of the screen up to the top. I'm going to hit save. And there you go. You can see that accounts is now the first in the list, and it also shows up as the very first tab in the navigation bar along the bottom of the screen. And then the next time I open up my desktop app, these changes will be reflected there as well. All right, so my colleague has texted me a link to an account that I should check out. So let's switch over to my messages. Here I'm going to tap on this link that they sent over, and you can see how it lands me directly on this specific account instead of prompting me about whether I want to open this page in the Salesforce app or not. It just saves a lot of time to skip that step. Now on Account Object Home, skipping over there, you can see that there's the ability to do a scoped search. So let's search for Ohana. And I'm going to type slowly here so you can see how I get different results with each character. And I can easily narrow in on only accounts that are related to this term. I can also search in lists. So if I go to view all lists here, you can see that there is the ability to search in lists along the top of the screen. Let's search for enterprise. And here we go. You can see that I have my enterprise accounts list. You've made all these lists available to your users, and now your users can search them. And last but not least, I'm going to show you context menu since I'm demoing on iOS. So if you go to search results, tapping on the magnifying glass icon at the top of the screen, you can see my most recently used records. In iOS, I can do a long press or a press and hold, and this pops up a little preview. They call this context menu. And I can kind of take a look and see what's in this record and whether this is the one I'm ultimately looking for. So now let's talk about some upcoming pilots. As admins, I'm sure you're always on the lookout for new features that make your users more productive. So here are a few exciting pilot features on the way. First, activity timeline. Users want an overview of the calls, the emails, the events, the new stuff that they care about as it relates to a record that they're watching closely. So to provide that, we've adapted activity timeline for mobile. Reports overview. So this is when users go to a report, they'll be able to see a cover sheet that shows grand totals, the number of records included in the report, and the idea here is to give a bird's eye view of the report before the user dives deeper into the data. Next up, we have task and event reminders. These send users a push notification when they have a task that's due or an event that's coming up soon. And last but not least, we're adding a monthly view of the calendar. Your users will be able to navigate their events month by month instead of week by week. They can see visual indicators of where they have lots of events scheduled and where they might have some availability. So that's what we have planned. If you're interested in trying out these features before they officially go live, please visit sfdc.co/summermobilepilots to sign up. If you're looking for more information on how the Lightning experience works on mobile, you can check out Trailhead to learn more about the Salesforce mobile app. Thank you so much for listening. That's it for me. I'd like to turn things back over to Mark.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mark Baseman, Senior Admin Evangelist, coming to you from sunny San Diego, California. I can't wait to show you some of my favorite new features coming in Summer 20 for admins and end users. Let's dive in. Summer 20 brings a ton of great features to increase your users' productivity. First, the handy new split view is available on every object. Split view allows you to see both a list view and a selected record side by side. It's especially helpful to work through records quickly or skim through a set of records at once. One of the most popular ideas in the Idea Exchange, assigning tasks to queues, was released in spring. Now in Summer 20, you can use this functionality right on the record you're viewing, and you can even create a quick action to do this in one click. The Kanban view now allows for your users to update key fields. Kanban is even more fun now. When a user moves an opportunity to closed one, they receive the celebration confetti. Yes, you read that correctly. Your users can now receive report subscriptions with an Excel or CSV file attached. Einstein Search is now available in your org and can be easily set up. Einstein Natural Language Search allows users to search with common words to find the records they need even more quickly. And users can now enjoy the full Lightning experience while on the go from their iPad, just like on their desktop. Summer 20 also has productivity features for admins. Release updates allows you to keep up with what you need to prepare your org for any significant Salesforce updates. Release updates replaces critical updates and is the place where all admins want to kick off their preparation. The new minimum access profile allows you to create a user with the least amount of access and then layer in additional permissions as needed. My Salesforce Trust Monitor from Salesforce Labs brings trust.salesforce.com right into your Salesforce org. Dynamic forms and actions are here for custom objects. Admins can now give the fields and actions the user needs when they need it and give them a more customized experience. There are also a bunch of great flow updates in this release. Here are just a few of the admin highlights. There are 2 new flow triggers, record change and platform events. You can now report on the usage of your screen flows using native Salesforce reporting. Loops have become easier to configure, with tips shown right in the flow builder and auto-created loop variables. You can now easily pass all the record values at once into the flow automatically without manually creating individual variables. And finally, there are enhanced debugging tools available to help reproduce issues without directly impacting end users before they're ready. Okay, my favorite part? Let's check out that demo. We'll start on our Sunshine Chocolates homepage. If you've attended a previous Release Readiness broadcast, you might recognize Sunshine Chocolates. It's our sample Salesforce org that's being used to track sales for our delicious candy company. Let's take a look at the Opportunities tab. We're showing the standard list view of our opportunity pipeline. Starting in Summer 20, your users have a brand new way to work with lists. That's the split view. So let's check it out. With split view, you can see the list of records along the left, and you can see all the details of a selected record on the right. For those of you that have been admins for a long time, this might look familiar. This is like the old console view back in the day. Split view is really useful for your users because they can quickly click through multiple records and see which ones they want to work with, glance at key details, and even do things like add activities. Let's add a task to our opportunity record. If your users are using activities in the past, they could only assign them to other users or themselves. As of Summer 20, you can assign tasks and events to queues rather than task to our business development queue to ensure that someone from that team follows up and it won't get missed. Now let's go over to our opportunity Kanban view and see even more new features. Kanban is a great way to visualize which stages your opportunities are in. And new in Summer 20, you can show and edit key fields right in the Kanban view without clicking into individual opportunities. This is a huge time saver for your sales reps. Another great thing to check out is the guidance for success, which appears just below those key fields, giving your reps helpful advice on how to move their opportunity to the next stage right here in the app. Previously, you had to be working within a single opportunity to see this. So, with this awesome guidance that you provided, the sales rep wins that deal and updates that opportunity to closed one. New in summer, check out the celebration confetti right there in the Kanban view too. Now that we have one deal closed, our team leaders may need to see what other deals might come in. Let's take a look at a report of all the open opportunities that are in the pipeline. Brand new in Summer 20, I can now subscribe to this report and I can attach a file. Excel or CSV, so they can see the underlying data, and if needed, work with it in another system. Of course, we always want our users to work in Salesforce, but this is a really common admin request, and now it's available out of the box. Pretty great. Let's move over to the Projects tab and look at one of the projects. At Sunshine Chocolates, the project object tracks the rollout of a new chocolate sale to a particular account. Let's take a look at the brand new in Summer 20 Dynamic Forms and Actions functionality. So we're going to go into the Lightning App Builder. I'm really excited about this, and I know you are too. It's the #1 idea on the Idea Exchange. It's important to note Dynamic Forms is still in preview, and it's only available on custom objects and on the desktop right now. Dynamic Actions is in beta, and you can enable this in your sandbox and production. So here we are in Lightning App Builder, which should be familiar, but check this out, a brand new Fields panel on the left. This is the new Dynamic Forms capability. So I can add a new section to this page, to this project, and I can add individual fields to the page right here in the App Builder without going back to the page layout. This is huge. So I'm going to add 2 fields to my new section, and I can use the component visibility to determine when this section displays. I can use different criteria to determine if this shows on the screen or not, based on data from the record, the device, or even at the user or permission level. For this page, let's set the key info to display when the project status is in progress. I can also upgrade my existing record details to dynamic forms using the wizard. I won't go through this entire process now, but there are great tips to help you move your existing pages through this new format. You definitely want to try this out in a sandbox. I also want to show you the new Dynamic Actions feature, now in beta in Summer 20. Much like Dynamic Forms, this feature allows you to dynamically hide and show actions available to the user looking at the record based on specific criteria. In this example, I don't want to display the delete button if the project is in progress because I don't want my users deleting that project once it's started. You can see I've set the criteria here already. When I save the record page, you'll notice that the delete button disappears because the project status meets the criteria. And you can also see the key fields displayed. When I change the project status back to new, you'll see the delete button reappear. Pretty cool, right? I definitely recommend trying dynamic actions where it makes sense in your Salesforce org. I also want to show you another really useful beta feature in Summer 20, Einstein Search. Einstein Search enables your users to use natural language to get personalized search results that they can take action on right from the search box. Let's say I can remember an account, but I don't know the contact at that account. When I see the search results pop up, I see some natural language suggestions at the top, and I see recommended results below. One of the great things about Einstein Search is I can see the record details and related lists right here in the search results. I can also see related actions. So if I wanted to create a new contact or opportunity right here, right in the search results, I can do that just with one click. This is a great feature to enable with your Salesforce super users, and you can assign access just with a new permission set. Okay, let's go into Setup and take a look at a few admin-focused productivity tools. First, check out the brand new in Summer 20 Release Updates page. The Release Updates page allows you to easily gather all the information you need to prepare your org for any significant Salesforce updates. They're color-coded on the main page to help you prioritize and stay focused on updates that have pending actions. And items where you've reviewed and completed all actions are in green and move to steps completed. When you drill into a specific release update, you can see what's changing, what improvements can I see, and how my org is impacted. I also want to show you a new app from Salesforce Labs that I've installed in my demo org, Trust Monitor. Salesforce Labs are created by Salesforce employees for the community. They're not official Salesforce apps, but they're often useful. You can install the Trust Monitor in your Salesforce org to see the latest reports from Trust right in your specific Salesforce org. You can see here, everything looks green. And that's it for the demo. Hope you enjoyed those great productivity features. And now, back to you, Rebecca.
Welcome everyone to the Q&A session. Hope you've been taking note throughout the broadcast, so you have all your questions ready. Thank you for sharing them on the Trailblazer community already and on Twitter. I'm super excited to get started and dive right into the questions. So I'm going to pass it over to Rachel to just give a quick overview of how we're going to do questions, and then we'll get started.
Hey everyone, so excited to be joining you here from the home office today. We are really glad that you were all able to log on and see what we've got for you coming in summer 20. Thank you so much for submitting your questions both on Twitter and on the Trailblazer community. As you know, we pull from both of those places to see what you've been wondering about while we've gone live and show you what's coming up. So we have some of those questions loaded up here, ready to go for our wonderful guests. If you have questions that you think we're talking, go ahead and pop them in the Trailblazer community or Twitter with the hashtag Salesforce Live. We will do our best to get to all of them, and if we don't on the live broadcast, we will be joining you online after this to get to them. So with that, let's jump right in. My first question is for Elizabeth. Hey, Elizabeth, you ready?
I'm ready.
Amazing. So the question here says, we already have Einstein Analytics dashboards embedded in Salesforce. What is the use case for bringing them into Quip?
Absolutely. That's a really great question. And we get that a lot. So Quip is a very free-form, unstructured space, right? You can create documents that match multiple different use cases. We see account planning a lot, and with account planning, we see that our customers really like the flexibility to set those up in different ways as they like. And then you can then really easily embed those live dashboards in that free-form, flexible space in a way that you can have a conversation around it in a way that you may not be able to in Salesforce. So you can spin up something really quickly, bring that data in really easily, and then be able to have a conversation around it right within that document. Some example use cases in addition to account planning would be a weekly team document where you might want to see team performance, how are we performing relative to our goal? And we've also seen forecasting be really popular as well, where you can embed that dashboard and then you might have a live feed in the conversation pane with updates as deals are coming in and closing.
Okay, awesome, thank you. We will definitely circle back to you soon. We have lots of questions in here, but for now, I'm gonna jump over to Niket. Hey Niket, are you ready for your first question?
Absolutely.
Wonderful, okay. So this one says, does the app have all of the insights we get from the PDF report?
Yep, that's a good question. We have been working on this app in parallel with the PDF report that's been live for a while now. And I'm excited to let everyone know that almost all the insights that we provide in the PDF report are available in the app. There are a handful of insights that are not yet available. They'll be available in the subsequent releases, but you can find a full list of insights that are available in the PDF versus the app on the help page for Optimizer, but most of them are available.
Okay, awesome, thank you so much. And like I promised Elizabeth, and I know we will circle back to you as well, so hang on. Our third question is gonna go to Sheena. Hey Sheena, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Amazing. So this one says, what is the best way for admins to track mobile adoption?
Great question. And we're so glad that you care about mobile adoption. So there is in setup a specific mobile adoption page. So you just go to Lightning Usage from setup, and you can switch from Lightning Experience to Salesforce Mobile. And from there, you can see how many daily active users you have, how many monthly active users, and you can even see who are your most active users by profile.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that. Going back to Niket, we have a great question from the Trailblazer community. Can we use Optimizer to check unused macros, Niket?
As of now, you cannot do that. We do have a metric for macros where you can, we recommend people to use macros, but we cannot yet tell how many of them are used or not. But we'll take a note of this and put it in a backlog for future consideration.
Okay, thanks for addressing that. Next up, we have a question from Mark. Hey, Mark, where are you?
Why, I'm right here with Cloudy.
Hello.
Hello.
You even have a helper today.
That's right.
Amazing. So we have a couple of great questions for you. We're going to start with this one. Does split view work on STD and standard and custom objects?
Yes, split view works on standard and custom objects, and you get to split view because I think I saw a question on the Twitter about how you got to split view. It's the same way you get to the Kanban view. It's just another icon just below Kanban. So that's how you get to it. And yes, it works on all the objects.
Fantastic. And while you're here, let's roll into the next one for you. We have this one that says, what file format can you send report attachments?
Yeah, so there's two. There's Excel, which is like a formatted report, and then the CSV, which is the raw data. Oh, just two.
Okay, great. Let's see, let's go back up to Elizabeth. You ready for your next one, Elizabeth?
Absolutely.
Great. So here we have someone wondering, how does template mode work when you have multiple Salesforce orgs?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So as many of you may know, Quip is a great tool to bring in live data from multiple Salesforce orgs. So if you have an account plan and there are different teams working on that account that work in different Salesforce orgs with different data, you want to have a single place for all of that in one sort of consolidated view. Quip is a great tool for that. When you are creating documents from templates, within the live app, when you saw in the demo where we were setting up the template mode and we were choosing what list view we wanted to see, how we were filtering the Einstein dashboard, those types of things, there was also a field in there for the Salesforce org that you are bringing the data in from. So if you have 2 or 3, it could be multiple Salesforce orgs, you would just put in the org ID when you're setting up that template mode, and then when you create the document from the template, it will automatically bring from the appropriate org.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for doing that. Next, let's jump over to Sheena. There's a question coming in from our Trailblazer community for Sheena that says, we love how easy users can reorder mobile navigation. Do the mobile changes take effect in the desktop, or is the nav independent?
Yeah, this is a really good question. So as users make updates to their navigation on mobile, those updates do flow back to desktop. There's one consistent order across all your devices for that user. That's regardless of whether you're using phone, tablet, desktop, whatever. There may be cases where a user actually wants a different set or ordering of tabs on mobile because let's say they use different things on their phone versus on their desktop, but we don't support that today. We'll really welcome your feedback as to how the kind of one order across all devices is working out. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Sheena. Let's jump back to Niket now. I know we're going kind of rapid fire, but Niket, we've got some great questions for you coming in. This one, also from our Trailblazer community, says, can we use Optimizer in our sandbox previews?
Absolutely. You can definitely run Optimizer in Sandbox. And in fact, it's highly recommended that if you're making any big change in your org, always try it out in the Sandbox, run Optimizer, and make sure everything is up and running and ready to go before you do it in your production org. With that said, you should also run Optimizer in production org to monitor things and make sure you're optimizing what you're looking for in production. So yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then while we're talking about it, let's go to this question that I'm sure a lot of people are wondering. Does this app, does the Optimizer work for classic orgs?
Good question. As with all the innovation that Salesforce is doing, we are focusing more on the Lightning and we encourage everyone to use more and more Lightning experiences. The app for Optimizer is built on Lightning, and it powers all the innovation that's coming from Lightning. So it doesn't work in Classic. You could use the older PDF report if you want to see something in Classic, but with this January's move to Lightning for most of the orgs, every org should have access to Lightning. So nothing should prevent you from going to Lightning and running the Optimizer app. And again, highly recommend that use the app to get the latest and the greatest from the Optimizer team. And you have to just go to Lightning and use it there. And we hope you stay in Lightning once you're in Lightning.
Thanks, Niket. Yeah, that's a really valuable tool and really great advice. So do you think you have one more in you, and then we'll give you a little break for a few minutes?
Absolutely. Ready for it.
Great.
Yeah.
So this next one says, will the PDF report continue to work?
Yeah, I know this is going to come for sure. So for now, PDF report is going to stay, and we would love people to get used to the app and take time to start using the app more and more. Eventually, PDF report, as I said, is the older way of optimizing your org. It'll definitely not stay forever. We don't have a timeline yet, and we will keep the users informed when and how we are planning to move everyone completely to the Lightning app. But for now, it's going to stay. So feel free to use it for now.
Great. Okay, thanks, Niket. I know that was quite a few questions at once. We still have a few more in here, but we'll come back to you in just a minute. Hey, so Mark, if you and Cloudy don't mind, I've got a great one here from Twitter user Randy Thompson. They wrote to us and said, I am so psyched for dynamic forms and actions, but any word when standard objects will get them? You want to jump in on that one for us?
I do. So, Randy, I'm just going to direct you to the Trailblazer community. I know, shocker. There is a dynamic forms and actions group in the Trailblazer community, and actually the PMs are in there, and they have posted a roadmap slide in there. So I am not the product manager, so I don't want to say anything about roadmap, but I would say take a look in the Trailblazer community and check that out. And if you are particularly excited or anxious to get standard object, for instance, active, then I would go in there and be a squeaky wheel in the group. Specifically, I think it's called Dynamic Forms and Actions in the Trailblazer community.
We'll post a link in the group.
Awesome.
To the other group.
To the other group. Thanks, Randy. I saw you tweeting the whole time, so appreciate your watching.
Yes, as always, we really appreciate all of the awesome admins who are watching, who are tweeting, who are sharing fun screenshots of things they're really loving. That energy, when I get to bring that back to the team, is invaluable. So keep doing it. We love seeing you on there, and we're going to keep rolling through some more questions. I have a really fun one for Sheena. Sheena, someone in the Trailblazer community would like to know, will the mobile app support dark mode on iOS devices?
Great question. We're always trying to keep up with the latest iOS features. This is not currently on the roadmap, but I wouldn't be shocked if we took it up.
All right. Yeah, I know everyone's a big fan of the dark mode, so I'm sure that won't be the last time you see that one.
Yep.
Okay, so let's see where we're at. Sheena, while you're on, let's jump over to this question. How long before Android users will have some of the iOS-only functionality like press hold for preview and others? And that was from our friend John Williams over in the Trailblazer community.
Awesome. Thanks for your question, John. So we are always striving to have parity across Android and iOS. And while we closed some of the other gaps, things like view all lists, we are still a little bit behind on some of the things that I previewed today. But you should expect to see them within the next couple of releases. It's definitely on our minds, and we're bringing more Android engineering power to support this.
Great, thanks, Sheena. Going back through these questions here. Let's see what else we have queued up. Sheena, I've got quite a few for you. You want to dive into a few more with
Sure,
me?
let's do it.
Awesome. So this one says, when will the pilot features you mentioned actually be going live?
Yeah, so the pilots are happening in the summer 20 timeframe. So you can start, expecting them to roll out over the next few weeks. We will be, of course, paying attention very closely to what our user feedback is. And so we'll make some iterations, make sure things are totally up to quality. And the hope is really to go live with this stuff in winter 21, so the October, November kind of timeframe.
Great. Okay, thanks for addressing that one. I know everyone's really excited when we talk about pilot features, and they can't wait to get their hands on them.
Yep.
Tinker around and figure out how they work. Again, for Sheena, we have, how do I personalize my nav on mobile per user or per profile?
Yeah, so the easiest way to personalize by user profile is to set up lightning apps. And we know that admins are always trying to include only the things that resonate the most for users. So just set up your lightning app, has only the things that each profile uses the most, and those things will be there across desktop and mobile. One thing to note is the first 4 tabs in your user's lightning app will appear along the navigation bar. So use those spots wisely. That's where your users will have one-tap access to get the things that are really important to them. And as I mentioned in the demo, and I think others have asked questions about this, your users can actually reorder these tabs within a Lightning app themselves from mobile, starting in summer 20.
Okay, wonderful. Let's give you a break just for a minute, and I'm going to jump back over to Mark here. We have a few more in this list from Mark. So Mark and Cloudy,
Yes.
where is the best place to find out more about dynamic forms and actions, like maybe what the roadmap looks like, things like that?
Yeah, that's the Trailblazer community group that we're going to post a link to from the last question.
Fantastic. And then going in a totally different direction, if someone was wondering, how can they enable Einstein Search?
You can enable Einstein Search by applying a permission set. So in the Einstein Search setup, and I'm going to piggyback this on to another question here from the Trailblazer community, which is Einstein Search a free service? And the answer is yes, it's available for Enterprise Edition orgs and above. So Einstein Search is free. It's still in beta right now, so with all the caveats that a beta feature implies, but you can turn it on, and it is available at no cost to users right now. And I don't know if I answered the first question, which is, yeah, apply a permission set. And it walks you through how to set that up in the Einstein Search node in the setup tree.
We also have some videos about that on admin.salesforce.com.
Thanks, Rebecca.
I was just about to ask that. Rebecca, I know we have quite a few resources about this feature. I know it's been a really exciting topic within the community, and we have some videos, we have blog posts. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what those resources look like in case this isn't the only person wondering how to get these features turned on and get their hands on them.
Yeah, so we did a Trailhead Live session with Iori, who's one of the PMs on the Einstein team, about Einstein Search, and went 30 minutes in depth every step of the way, how to turn it on, what the best practices are. She had some really great tips and tricks as well. And yes, we've posted all of that on admin.salesforce.com. It's also on the Trailhead Live channel as a recording.
That's right. That's right. Yep, the Trailhead Live recordings have been a favorite of our team lately. There's such good stuff on there right now. So it's an awesome resource. If you're curious about any of the things we've covered today, there's probably something over there to look at as well. So we just have a couple more questions here, and going to jump into one for Niket. And I think I've frozen, so just bear with me for a moment. friends. I think it's all of your activity on Twitter, and the Trailblazer community has caused a little bit of a slowdown. Just 1 minute. All right, there we go. So Niket, what has happened to the Optimizer beta app that was listed on the App Exchange last year?
Yes, so Salesforce Optimizer, we released a beta app for Optimizer last year, and that was primarily to get early feedback and improve the product before we could bring it, to our for our general, audience. And thanks to all the folks who were early adopters on that app and gave us great feedback, that helps us improve the product. And for that reason, we are finally here where we are able to launch or GA this Optimizer app in that summer release. So thanks to everyone for all the feedback. What happened to the app now is it's no longer available publicly in the App Exchange. If you have the app, you could still use it, but since you have a general availability version of it available, I would recommend you to probably go ahead and uninstall the app and just start using the GA app in your core environment, and or just feel free to delete the app in your org.
Just a time check. We have a couple more minutes of Q&A, and then we'll be wrapping up.
Yes. Yes, we do. So I have one more for Sheena. If you'll jump back on with me, Sheena. Sure. When are we getting dynamic forms on mobile?
Yes. So customizing pages at the field level on mobile versus desktop is a super common request. We know admins want to make the app smaller and concentrate it with only the relevant stuff that their users need. The current plan is for this to be available sometime next year.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Going through the list here. Gosh, everybody on Twitter, thank you so much for jumping on and putting your questions in. There are so many more in here than we can get to in our allotted time for today. So I will just put out there again that if you asked a question on Twitter or in our Trailblazer community group, someone will join afterwards, and we will try to get to all of those questions just in a typed out format instead of a live format here. We are going through, and it looks like we're having a lot of questions about, when we mentioned that new things are coming up, if people are curious about when something's going to be available in their org, where can they find that information?
About this current release, or
about
like when the release is happening?
Yeah, if there's new features, there's quite a few questions here about new features that were mentioned and when something might be available in their org. So I think there are probably a few different ways to find that out, depending on what they're curious about. But there is a lot of curiosity. I know a lot of people are excited to get their hands on new things.
Yeah, there is a release schedule that is published on Trust that you can reference for when your org will get the summer 20 release. I don't know, Mark, if you want to add any.
Yeah, I would say trust.salesforce.com has all the information, and I will just make a quick plug for the Salesforce Labs app that I mentioned in the demo, which is my Trust Monitor, which brings Trust right into your Salesforce org. But yeah, if you need release information, you can check Trust. You can also go to salesforce.com/releases. That has all sorts of information. And of course, as Rebecca, I'm sure, is going to talk about right now, are Learn More. So maybe I'll toss it back to Rebecca right now to find out more about these release features.
Sounds good. All right, this does conclude kind of our Q&A session and thus the broadcast. So I want to say thank you to all the panelists for joining us and providing all of this amazing content, great demos, and answering questions from our community. Thank you, Rachel, for managing the questions and monitoring and getting them answered for us. And then thank you, awesome admins, for joining us today and making that time to learn about the Summer 20 release. It's very important to your success as a Salesforce admin. And then I will share just another way that you can learn more about the release. So we definitely recommend that you join us at sforce.co/learn more. That's learn, MOAR, where there is more information for you to learn about the Summer 20 release. And also join us next week for more Release Readiness Live with Elna. And with that, I think we've given you all the resources to enable you to be successful. And we're super excited to see what you do with this new innovation. So see you next time in the cloud.